Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matthew Thompson, and I'm a famous YouTuber. I also happen to be a structural engineer, and the other day I was talking with a friend, and he told me that there's these series of books called Baby Loves Science, and I was intrigued to learn that there was one called Baby Loves Structural Engineering. Now, I'm a structural engineer, and I was told that this is the only book that they did not have, which was a tragedy. And so I went ahead and I bought the book, and I decided to read through the book. And it actually turns out that the content within the book is the tragedy. So I'm doing a review of this because there's a lot of misinformation here, and so we need to go through this and address this. So without further ado, we're going to get started. So first off, we have the cover. You can see Baby Loves Structural Engineering by Ruth Spiro and illustrated by Irene Chan. Now, if you look at the back of the book, we have a bunch of information. Baby likes to build things. Engineers do too. Find out how they both use physics to build strong structures. So that's what they would think that's what they would have you think this book is about. But it's actually not about that at all. So we're going to start at the beginning, and we'll read it along, and I'll explain to you. So first page, Baby likes to build. Engineers do too. First and foremost, it goes without saying that most children are very destructive and like to tear things apart. If you've been around a child for more than 10 seconds, you know that to be true. So we're immediately starting off with lies, and that's not good. It is true, though, that engineers do like to build things. I do enjoy that. So at least they're getting me right, which is what's important. So next page. Babies build with shapes. Engineers do too. And you can see we got the shapes. We got triangle, we got rectangle, we got square, and then we got arch. And let it be known, arch is not a shape. This is basic kindergarten 101. You have squares, circles, triangles, rectangles, parallelograms, hexagons, octagons, pentagons, but at no point are you told that arch is a shape. So that's factually incorrect. I also don't use shapes to build things. I use different structural elements to build things, and they may end up looking like a shape. So let's just to get that straight. But yeah, continuing on. Next, what is Baby building? A house. Well, that's very clearly true. We can see from the photo that the child is actually building a house. And I do enjoy that he's taking safety first. He has a hard hat on. Safety really is incredibly important, folks. You don't want to be getting a bonk on the noggin and becoming a bigger dum-dum than you actually are. So it's really important that you wear a hard hat pretty much at all times, actually. So I took mine off for this video so that way I look prettier, but you should always have it on. Next, we got the house is a structure. That's accurate. It has a foundation, walls, and a roof. That is also accurate. Those make up the main structural elements of the house, actually. The roof, the walls, and then the foundation. There's more that goes into it than that, but for a approximately 1 to 4-year-old child, this is pretty good introduction for them. Alrighty, next. The foundation is at the bottom of the house, and it must support the house and everything inside. Now, that is an accurate statement, but if you look at the photo, clearly what it shows is the walls and the roof failing and not the foundation. Now, we're trying to teach the child here the importance of the foundation, and the image we are giving them is the fact that the walls and the roof are failing, but not the foundation. So this is inaccurate. This is the sort of stuff I deal with all the time. People don't know the difference between right, left, up, down, red, white, black, you name it. So I would have to blame that more on the illustrator, though, than the author. So anyways, continuing on. Next we have the walls go on the foundation. They must support the roof. The roof goes on top of the house. Inside, everyone is safe and dry. So this is actually quite accurate. The walls support the roof. Now, what they didn't state that probably every child should know is that the roof is made up of multiple components, each with a different purpose. You have your roof framing, which is designed to carry the loads that your roof will experience during its lifetime. But you also have the water diversion system, which is most commonly referred to as your shingles. Maybe you have metal panels or clay tile, something like that. Basically, the idea being is when rain, snow, or any other precipitate or maybe tree branches fall onto it, it deflects it so that way it does not get inside the home. Also very important is the attic. Attics are a huge problem actually for most homes, and a lot of engineering goes into those, but that's a little bit above what I'm expecting a regular 1 to 4-year-old to understand, so we'll give that a bypass for now. Next, a structure must support itself. It must support the weight of everything that is on top of it. Everything inside and on top. So what you see here are 4 pictures. And then on page 2 it says it must stand up through any kind of weather outside. Now, some of this is good, some of this is bad. So as you can see, we got snow. Snow is actually a reasonable weather load. Snow has weight to it, and then over the winter, as it stacks up on top of your home, it can put a lot of weight on the structure. And we designed for this snow load. So that's actually quite accurate. Next, we have wind. Wind is a load we also designed for and is incredibly important since most homes will experience both of these, wind and snow. But then we have rain loads. While ASC 7 does have prescriptions for rain loads, those are generally for flat roofs where you can expect ponding to take place and there's drains in the roof system. For us, we have a gable type structure with a steep slope roof system that is going to naturally shed water. And thus the notion that rain is going to be a load that we would consider is preposterous. Finally, we have sun load. I don't know what you want to call this, but they have the sun. There is no load that comes from the sun. You could argue, like my roommate did, that who's also a structural engineer, that photons could provide a load, but yeah, that's not accurate. But so although sun can deteriorate some of the claddings of your structures, shingles in particular will deteriorate over time and higher exposure to sunlight, resulting in such things as granule loss. So that's a fun fact for you. Next, all of these things create forces on a structure. These forces are called loads. Now, that is correct, but we have some serious misinformation here. So first off, we have what they say is dead loads and live loads. So roof, foundation, walls, dead loads, pigs, furniture, live loads. That's actually accurate. In our ASC 7 prescriptions, we have several types of loads, dead loads being one and live loads being one. But unfortunately, they get one of the most important things wrong here, saying that wind is a live load. Wind is in fact not a live load. Live load and wind are 2 completely different things. They have their own separate chapters in ASC 7, and they must be considered differently. The way you design for them is much different, and the way that you create load combinations is also very different. On top of that, they also consider rain to be a live load. Now, we went through on the previous page why rain is not a load in this consideration, since we have a gable steep slope roof system. But on top of that, even if we did have, say, a low slope roof system, rain load would be its own separate thing. So, yeah, outside of that, it's all right. So, I mean, there we go. Next, engineers find ways to make structures strong enough to bear loads. Sorry, reading backwards is kind of hard. So as you can see, we have columns, cables, arches, beams. That's accurate for the most part. It is worth saying, though, that this is more than just a beam. This is what we would call maybe a moment frame or more of a truss type structure. So the beam is the horizontal element. There's more that goes to it than just that. So maybe if they just had a big horizontal bar floating out in space, that'd be accurate. But the way it is right now, you need some more clarification. And then lastly, engineers build all kinds of structures. This is true. Thank your local structural engineer next time you see them. I had to correct myself there because it's important not to thank the other engineers, but to thank structural engineers, since we're the best. Whether you like houses, buildings, bridges, or anything that you need to function through daily life, we build it. So we're the true heroes of society. Lastly, it says that baby does too. Beep, beep. Now, I don't know why beep, beep is present here. I mean, maybe there's some trucks, but we're not talking about automotive engineering here. We're talking about structural engineering. And so we don't care about the beeps. But that's small in comparison to the rest of the atrocities that are in this book. So yeah, that'll wrap up this review, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and that you were enlightened yourself. It's possible that you were exposed to a book like this yourself as a young child, and you had many of these misinformed thoughts within your mind. And if we corrected them, well, I'm just incredibly happy to know that is the case. And we will continue to correct misinformation about structural engineering in the future. With that, I bid you all a good night. Until next time.